Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Bookbind. I'm phoenixrokni, author of The Fall of Magic, first book in the Masterscore series. Today, we're stepping into the shadows a bit, talking about and exploring Lord Grindam, the feared servant of the Dark Master, whose influence stretches far beyond the battlefield we see in the first book. So, who is Lord Grindam? Now, once Grindam was a hero, a champion of Auro, a warrior who fought beside some of the brightest defenders and in serving the light. In The Fall of Magic, readers first hear about him in the prologue through the eyes of Anarian, and there's a conversation that's overheard by those three surviving magi, the people escaping Ilanel. It's that first time that Grindam is mentioned by Drysias as he's having a conversation with his commanders. For those characters that are hiding, it's a shock to imagine that Grindam has been alive after so long. Something that's actually mentioned by Elenphia, as Anarian and Elenphia and Mavalin are all sort of hiding there in that hidden passageway. Grindam is known for stories as the Dark Orc. He's remembered as Auro's traitor. He is literally the traitor of Auro and servant of the Dark Master, titles that we refer to quite frequently when we regard this individual. But in this book, he emerges as a hidden antagonistic figure whose reach extends far beyond the shadows. Now, legends say that he rode the Great Dahaka in the final attack on Valenthraeus, the Elven city. In truth, his ties to the darkness go much deeper than that. As readers will discover, he is one of the individuals that is pushing Drysias forward from behind the scenes. Though even Drysias does not fully understand what is at play within him, that truth really belongs to the Dark Master himself. So there is a level of antagonism between the two. And there was a bit of mystery surrounding that, both in regard to the way that Drysias viewed the Dark Orc and the way that the Dark Orc was actually treating Drysias. And I didn't get into that too deeply. I wanted that to be enigmatic itself, just so that it's something I wanted to be revealed in time in the future of the series. Now, what makes Grindam truly dangerous isn't only that he was once one of Auro's greatest warriors, nor is it really his part in forging dark powers. It's actually his patience and skill as a strategist, quietly serving the Dark Master's will in the physical world, while Ohrimah himself remains shrouded within the Gloomvale, a place growing stronger and more tangible with time. There's mystery around both Grindam and the Gloomvale. And I was careful in book one not to reveal too much about how that place sustains itself or gains strength, but the hints are there, and I'm curious as to whether or not you caught them. When we think about Grindam's place in this story, and really in the overall story of the series and the world itself, we'll just kind of really talk about Grindam's role in this story for a bit. Grindam's machinations directly lead to Drysias' march into Auro first, making a pit stop in his own kingdom. His presence in the north after the prince seizes the weapon anchors the coming Dark Crusade. The frozen north is where evil is the strongest, and it is a place that the living dare not tread, but one will, and it will cost them everything. In contrast to Aurotos, however, Grindam's role is dramatic and deeply personal. He helped to ensure the death of Aurotos' parents. He is tied to the Dark Master, and through that union, what he carries out in Ohrimah's name, combined with what happens to our MC's animal companions, is a major reason that Aurotos seeks justice. So Grindam lurks in the background and is always present. For Aurotos, he is the hidden enemy scheming against the world his parents died to protect. Valathos and others still remember the Dark Orc as he was before he turned, and they long to see him ended for his treachery. But that reckoning must wait until other battles are fought. And Grindam stands as a mirror to the heroes. The dark version of what they could become if they yielded to the Fade and the whispers of Merda. You should expect themes of corruption, loyalty, and power to continue to shape Grindam's story. So thinking about some symbolism and meaning to him as a character, initially I really sort of conceived of him as sort of a necromancer of sorts, but he really became something much bigger than that. Grindam represents the seductive nature of Ohrimah, the cost of ambition, and the pain of betrayal. Even as a champion of Auro in the First Age, he could be seduced by the belief that the world needed to be remade and that the gods should be overthrown. He was once a hero among the orcs, trusted by leaders across Auro, Valathos, and the Auron elves included. That trust was shattered when he turned on them, and his belief in Ohrimah's vision corrupting everything he once defended. His belief in Ohrimah and his vision inevitably corrupted everything that Grindam once stood for. We also hear about the Sentinels of Strife, although briefly, they are the Vorlon defectors in the First Age that chose to side with the Dark Master. Grindam played a very big part in that defection, and now they dwell with him in the Frozen North, though we don't get to see them. And that helps to further show you that Grindam and his forces remain shrouded in mystery and in the Frozen North. He's also the creator of Nolkralash, which is the corrupted weapon that enslaves Drasias Korvek, becomes the first weapon capable of raising the dead and bringing into inevitable creation the Dark Rovers. Though in truth that weapon is capable of doing much more, I'd encourage you to ponder that weapon and its whereabouts after the first novel. Some fun facts related to this character. Grindam never intended for Drasias to stumble into the weapon's trap. He was focusing on amassing an undead force to unleash upon the orcs, hoping to turn his own people into servants of darkness by choice or by binding their spirits to the Gloomveil through Nolkralash. A few Easter eggs in the Fall of Magic hint at the Gloomveil's nature and evolution, as well as Grindam's plotting. Chapter 12 specifically contains several clues about what he's done and what his schemes will ultimately destroy. He also will appear in another set of books that I'll write after this series, going back in time. But within this series itself, his betrayal will eventually be answered with long overdue justice. But how will that justice look and how will it unfold is still to come. Grindam has eluded death on multiple occasions. Questions about his unnatural longevity, his ability to remain hidden, are early breadcrumbs into larger revelations. For thousands of years, Grindam's name has been tied to the Dark Master, but he is only one of many players at the center of the forces of darkness. As future books arrive and the forces of light begin to gather, they will have to decide whether to seek out this traitor or draw him out through other means. What happens then? What consequences will follow as a result? All in due time. Lord Grindam is more than just a villain in the Fall of Magic. He's a force whose choices ripple through the entire series and will have devastating consequences to Auro's people. I'd love to hear your thoughts regarding him. What do you make of Grindam? What role do you think he'll play in the future of this series as it unfolds? I'd love to hear those questions and more from you. I'd also like to encourage you to join our community Discord. It's a great place to chat with other people who enjoy nerding out about Auro as much as I or potentially you do. Also, now that I've covered the major players in the Fall of Magic, I'll be looking to you for suggestions on what discussions to feature next in this Behind the Bookbind series. But rest assured, the series will continue. All things in good time. Until next time, may the light guide you, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye, friends.